Hey guys, and welcome back to Garden of Kayland.
Where plants run free with jokes and clumsiness, let's make it green and wild in the Garden of Kayland.
Spring is here. I have waited so long to say that. With the warmer weather and longer days, my green friends have been thriving and showing off all their new growth. In today's video, I'm going to show you a few of them, along with their progress, a few care tips, and what makes them so special. Whether you're an obsessive plant enthusiast like myself, nothing wrong with that, or you're just getting started, there's something here for everyone. So buckle up and let's dive in. But before we get started, hi, I'm Kayla and welcome back. If you're new here, welcome, and be sure to subscribe if plants are your vibe. Now let's look at some plants. This guy is new to the gang. Everybody tell him hi, welcome him aboard. This is the Anthurium I know the name, I'm just making sure. Anthurium draconopterum. Draconopterum is not a game, y'all. Like, this guy develops the most outrageous trilobed leaves. It looks so strange. It's got like some slight texture to it. I am so excited for spring right now. Like, this is crazy. And something else I like is that these stay pretty compact. So in no time, I'm gonna have me a nice little bushy Anthurium, or a nice big bushy Anthurium. It's so astonishing to me, like how some Anthurium leaves transform as they mature. And I tend to love transforming plants. I say I tend to love them because some plants, as they mature, they kind of lose something that I really loved about them. Like this Cercestes mirabilis starts to kind of dim, like the color starts to fade as it matures. So some of them, you know, I don't want to mature, I guess. But this one I'm definitely looking forward to because it's crazy. I'm gonna put a picture, if I can find one, I'll put a picture of a mature leaf on screen, but oh my goodness. Speaking of things maturing, I was thinking recently, like, has anyone else noticed? My son is finally getting his 2 front teeth back and they're big. Like, has anybody noticed kids around like 8, 9, 10 have the biggest, they have the biggest teeth? Like, why are their teeth so big? I guess I could Google it, but like, hurry up and like grow into your mouth, grow into your teeth. I don't know. But anyway, as you can see, we have a new emerging leaf. How exciting. And it's red. Love a red emergent. This Anthurium just looks so otherworldly and exotic. And then when the emergent leaves start to, like when they're red and they start to kind of fade to green, that's something else that I really love. I guess I just have a really soft spot for weird looking plants, this being no exception to that. It's just doing the most. Like, it's got a lot going on. It's a lot. It's very extra. I guess we're twinsies. The veins are what give it like that texture, but the ruffled edges, like the waviness of it, that gives it class. Like, you know, it needs another leaf or two, I think, before you can really like see what this plant can do. But you can tell even by the juvenile form that this is definitely going to be a winner. Speaking of potential, before I really even get into this bulbophyllum, phylum, I have got to show you a photo of its flower first. Lately, I have been doing pretty well with orchids, and I told you guys a little while back that I was gonna start trying to get into them a little bit more. I'm not the orchid queen just yet, but I'm getting things to flower. Like, I'm well on my way. They're not dying. Who do I think I am? The bulbophyllum medusae, also known as the Medusa orchid, if I'm not mistaken, has these flowers that resemble like white hair. It is incredible. To me, the flowers also kind of look like fireworks, but the way like these long tendrils hang down, it's really just going to enhance the jungle vibe that I have going on in here. I've been trying to get this to bloom, and by trying to get it to bloom, I mean, I'm just putting it like right next to all my other blooming orchids and crossing my fingers. Now, that's not to say that every orchid requires the same thing to bloom. They don't, but that's just what I'm doing for now. I mean, it's not like I'm a botanist or anything yet. I am just so stoked for this plant to bloom. Like, y'all, go and look this thing up. It is so beautiful. I do read that the blooms really smell bad though. Not looking forward to that part, but it's okay. I'll put an air freshener or something here because I need to see some flowers on this pronto. It seems like the flowers are gonna be like light and wispy and like they would move with the slightest of breezes. Like, I'm just so excited. I'd maybe even like to get this mounted. I don't know, we'll see. I'm a little bit hesitant with that just because I read that these like consistent moisture, and I have a hard time with mounted plants and moisture. So I don't know. I do wish the foliage was a bit more more exciting for times where it wasn't in bloom, but what can you do? Don't look now, but guess who just showed up? If you've been here a while, then you know that this was sold to me as a Hoya macrophylla red. Let's start there, first of all. Then the pictures display like these giant red, like very vibrant red leaves. So imagine my surprise when this showed up. At that point, I'm just thinking, okay, photos were just this Hoya sun stressed, right? Not a problem. So then I gave this plant everything it needed to test that theory out with new growth, except for it didn't grow. It just didn't grow for 13 months, y'all. It did not grow. A human baby grows faster than that, okay? The only thing it did do, in fact, was lose some leaves. But then I looked at it the other day and it had this itty bitty little pretty new leaf coming in on it. That reminds me, just side note real quick, y'all know the song, the itty bitty pretty, itty bitty. I'm not gonna sing it because I don't want to get a copyright strike. You know, it's on a bunch of different movies. It was on Matilda. Go look that song up and listen to the lyrics. I was like, this is weird. But anyway, it looks like this new leaf is gonna be what? Red. Hallelujah. It just took so long, but it's fine. It's fine. She's here now. The verdict is still out, however, on if this is actually macrophylla. It doesn't really look like macrophylla to me. If you know exactly what this is, a few people have guessed before. Like, I think someone said latifolia. I don't know though. It's just, it doesn't look like macrophylla, I can tell you that. Which Hoya it is a little less important to me though, because I'm just so excited about the new leaf on here. And then it's popping up at springtime, like it's so perfect. I'm just feeling very optimistic about this plant now. I'm so glad I didn't give up on it. I really wanted to at times. The leaves are like so perfectly round and I really love the veins that flow throughout. As far as this long, nearly vacant tendril, like, I mean, I guess I can't complain. I do have a little leaf on here, so whatever. Plus it's gonna need plenty of stem to support these massive leaves. I have it in stratum, as you can see here, and it, surprisingly for it to have been in here for so long, doesn't have a lot of roots on it. So luckily that means I get to keep it in here a little bit longer because I feel like maybe this is a culprit for that new leaf. And it's also gonna need, well, it already needs like I have this little stake thingy in here, but it's gonna need something a little bit taller. But I feel like when I get them on a trellis or like when I get something to hold up the stem or hold up the tendril, I feel like that's when they really start pushing out new leaves. So I don't know, we'll get around to it. Anyway, ladies and gents, we shall see. It's finally happening. It's finally happening after so long. This is another one of those plants that I enjoy more in its juvenile state. Then again, I guess I haven't had this really long enough to make that determination. But what I'm saying is a lot of split leaf Monsteras kind of start to look alike, and it can get redundant and a little boring after seeing it a million times. I like for there to be something that kind of sets it apart. I don't know, I just really like the solid leaves on this Monstera. And the green is almost like creamy and soft, and I'm just really enjoying it right now as it is. I think I'll probably still love it when the leaves start to split. I will still love it when the leaves start to split. I've got to admit though, I kind of would like if nothing changed about this other than the leaves sizing up and there being more of them on here. And again, the foliage is just so textured, and I think that really adds value to the color on here. But what I really love about this is the lack of issues that I'm having with it. I do have some whatever that is right there, but it arrived like this, and every leaf that it's pushed out since then has been pretty much perfect. All of my fancy Monsteras have problems all the time, especially with root rot. So what I've done for this and all of the other ones is I let them completely dry out before watering them again. In fact, I may even let them dry out a little bit too much sometimes. But no harm, no foul. And that may even be why I don't really have problems with this one, because I kind of know what to expect and what to do from jump now. This and my Esqueleto are just like drama-free and very easy to please. That is why I'm so excited to see what it's gonna be up to during the spring and summer months and just how big it can really get. The camera is just not doing this plant justice. The green is just so simple, but so eye-catching. You know, I read online somewhere that the Monstera obliqua is very rare and the pangui is even more rare. I wonder how true that is, especially since nowadays everything is rare. At least for a little while. And as far as the leaves fenestrating, like, you know how, especially with the obliqua, how there's like more holes than there are leaf sometimes. Do you get what I'm saying? Because the leaves are thicker, and I hate when like just one little piece of the leaf rips off and it leaves like this open, I don't know, it made sense in my head before I started saying it out loud, but if you get it, you get it. Anyway, stay tuned as we continue to track the growth of this gorgeous plant. This is a very dainty little plant, but very fascinating. It's called the Angraecum distichum. It's part of the Orchid family, and it has these tiny little leaves that grow in like this ranked or shingling pattern. And then they grow these cute little fairy-like flowers that are just adorable, but still very exquisite. Now that I've seen them in person, mine is still pretty new here, but I'm hoping soon. I couldn't decide what to do with it, so I just kept it on this little like wooden plank until I got my life together. But now I'm kind of vibing with it on here. Minus the green rubber band around it, but whatever. The back of the plank has like this little hook on it, so I'm still able to hang it up in my cabinet, which is perfect because this plant thrives in warm and humid conditions. So it kind of had to go in there anyway. And I suppose all is well in that cabinet because it started to develop these new leaves on it, which I love because they're such a vibrant green. Overall, this plant really shows me as I kind of start to break into it a little bit more that the orchid family is like insanely diverse. And the care for them really isn't as difficult and complex as I thought it would be. In fact, there are a few more orchids that I got over the winter with a little bit of potential as the warmer season approaches. And I'm so ready to show you guys the blooms on everything once they start popping up here and there. I'm really not a flower girl. I'm more of a foliage person. But the truth of the matter is I just appreciate unique beauty. And if that comes in the form of a flower, then, you know, so be it. What's better than a strappy philodendron? A strappy philodendron with red on it. And what's even better about this philodendron bicolor is it's not fussy about being in lower light conditions, but there is a reason why I have this in stratum. I had this poor baby cut down to basically a wet stick because, well, I don't know, but it was just struggling so bad, y'all. The leaves on it just would not grow, and the ones that were on it just wouldn't get right. So yeah, I went my tried and true stratum route for a restart, and here we are. The leaves on the bicolor feel like cardstock, if I were to describe it, and the two-tone thing that it has going on makes it just look so dramatic. Naturally, the bicolor is a climber, so I will have to get some kind of support going on here soon. Maybe even now I could stand some. And hopefully that'll help me get like these giant, glorious leaves of my dreams. You know, I just got this random thought, and I don't know if this happens to anybody else, but sometimes I'm like, wait, why am I doing this? Like, why am I standing in front of a camera talking about plants? Like, it's a really strange and overwhelming feeling. I don't know, there's probably a word for it, but you guys, look at the color on here. And this is, you know, pretty much hardened off at this point. The leaves are not very mature, obviously, because I had to start this completely over, but there's like, I don't know, 2, 3 plants in here. So I have a bunch of new growth going on all at once. Whenever I see the bicolor like mature and full, it's just so breathtaking. And this vein down the middle is so, like, it gets more intense. It almost seems to get wider too. These do eventually take up a lot of space, but it's so worth it. These perfectly straight and narrow leaves, just like, and the color, it's just unbeatable. The whole thing is just unbeatable. Now that I have steady new growth popping in, I think it's safe to say that this is going to do plenty over the summer. As long as I don't do anything else to interfere with that. I really don't know what I did in the first place, but I know I'm not taking any more chances, and I'm really excited for it, y'all. I really am. This growing season, I think I'm going to re-enter my Alocasia era. I think I'm going to stick to jewel Alocasias this time because they're just generally easier for me. Like, they're the only ones I don't seem to kill, except for my variegated Frydek that's doing quite well, if I must say so myself. This Alocasia reginae has been giving me so much joy, and I feel like I would have more leaves on it if it didn't flower 10,000 times over the winter. I kept cutting the flowers off, but they just seemed to return like twice as much after. I don't know, it was weird, but I ended up moving it to a darker spot in hopes that it would kind of like calm it down, and it seemed to work. It pushed out another leaf. And alocasias, for some reason, I don't know, I feel like I can never get more than like 2 or 3 leaves on them. Sometimes I get more, sometimes I get like a bushy plant, but that's only when I have like multiple plants in the pot. You know what I mean? I don't know. I have slow release fertilizer in it. But I love how this looks. I definitely noticed that the leaves are getting darker and they're so shiny, y'all. Recently, somebody asked me how I get my plants so shiny. Well, it is something that I'm doing. Basically, I water my plants in the shower, like every plant in this house, except for one that's growing up a wall and I'm not moving. I put in the shower on a regular basis or the bathtub or whatever and spray the whole thing down. And that just kind of helps to keep the dust off. But what I really think the culprit is the fact that I spray my little neem oil mix on these. So it's just neem oil, Dawn dish soap, and water in a spray bottle. And every time I shower these, I spray it everywhere, like front of the leaf, back of the leaf, all over the stems. And so it makes the leaf shiny. That's what I assume it is, because it kind of feels, well, this one's naturally like this anyway, but sometimes I can feel like, it feels like something's on there, so I'm pretty sure that's the neem oil. And I guess it's dual purpose. I do it for the purpose of keeping pests at bay or away completely. It has multi-purposes, y'all. Who knew? The leaves on the Reginae are like this pointy heart shape. And I mentioned that they're getting darker, but they still have like this blue silvery look to them that just makes them that much more stunning. Sometimes I even see these like growing a little bit, like a tinge more narrow. So to my surprise, mine is, I guess, a wide form. They come in different shapes and sizes from what I see online. Like I always see some that don't look like mine. It's weird. It's not weird. It's normal. But this imprinted texture just adds so much more character to this. As soon as it gets above 50 degrees, I cannot wait to put this outside. Like I feel like it's going to get so big out there, or at least bushier. The leaves only get a little bit bigger than this, but it just has so much potential. I really think I know it would benefit from some fresh air. Wouldn't we all? So when were y'all gonna tell me that Jaccinia pothos were at big box stores now? About a month ago, I discovered this in one of the big box stores I was in, and it was in this big old hanging planter. Like, what? Naturally, of course, though, I brought it home and split it up into like a bunch of different plants, one of which I'm trying to get climbing. Not this one, but this one I did put this little bendy trellis thingy, cocoa core pole thingy in here. So that's one of them. And then this one honestly looks the best in my opinion. And this is the one that I'm trying to get climbing. Oh my gosh, you guys. I can't give just one particular reason for wanting to divide it. I think I just didn't want them all in like this overcrowded pot. And since I had to repot it anyway, I decided to kind of experiment and see which growing method I liked best for this, which was pointless because I already knew then it was going to be climbing. The pothos is already such an easy plant. Having a variegated one is about to be so fun. Each new leaf is so different, but they all have their own individual beauty to them. Some leaves are green with dark veining, some are cream and speckled, some are like just kind of, spotty, blotchy, whatever you want to call it. And then some are just a combination of everything. I'm basically foaming at the mouth to get big leaves on this plant. Can you even imagine? It's so hypnotizing to me, and there's just so much to look at. My Marble Queen pothos is such a fast grower. So if this is following that same rate, like we're on y'all, it's about to be so lit this summer. It really is. And then couple that with a moss pole and we are like, we're cooking with grease now, people. And then my variegated heartleaf philodendron is finally picking up. I need to take her to the chop shop and get her fuller. So I've added that to my spring chores list all summer long, y'all. And I'm not even kidding when I say this. I'm booked and busy. Speaking of spring chores, the other day I cleaned out this unused terrarium and I added my ardisia and begonia to it. The begonia took a little bit of a hit, but I'm pretty confident that it'll recover in these conditions. The Ardisha settled right on in, so I'm very excited for that. I wanted to add a little bit more, but I didn't want to overdo it, so I figured 2 was a decent number, you know, just to keep it from getting overcrowded, especially since I plan on keeping them in there long term. So 2 was just a perfect number, and we'll see how it goes. You guys, I had to fight somebody for this Hoya. I'm just kidding. What really happened was I was at a plant swap and I picked it up and I was paying for it, and this guy was like, oh, I was about to get that. I was coming back for it. And I was just like, yikes. But I was really glad. I was really glad that I was impulsive and just got it when I saw it, because I might have missed out on this. The Hoya erythrina is straight out of Jurassic Park. Apparently erythrina in Greek, I want to say it's Greek, means red, named after the beautiful leaves it produces when it's sun stressed. I know that some people think that the colors in Hoya names define like the flower color, but sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes it is talking about the foliage. It's not as often as it is defining the flowers, but it does happen. The flowers that this particular Hoya produce are cream colored and fuzzy and so cute. And it's such a funny and stark contrast from like these dark vein leaves with this prehistoric look to them. It truly is an alluring plant. And when I first got it, it did have these 2 leaves in it, but it wasn't rooted. And it's since put out these tendrils. So this one, and then this big long one, and this leaf, if it'll focus. So this leaf that is barely making it on through, but it's making it on through nonetheless. And then I see evidence of 2 more about to pop out. So I'm really excited for this, you guys. This is such a gorgeous Hoya. I'm excited to get it going on a trellis. Like, I'm not particularly excited about having to take it out the stratum and repot it and stuff. But you know, it is what it is. It is yet another plant that I'm excited about tracking the growth of over the upcoming months. And I'm excited for you guys to track it with me. I'm not sure if I've ever shown this on my channel before. I don't know why. I've had it a while. Maybe you've seen it on a plant tour. Speaking of plant tours, you guys, leave a comment below and let me know if you want to see another plant tour soon. But this Anthurium pallidiflorum guayusa has really been demanding my attention lately, mostly because it's starting to take up more space. And it's quite obviously different from the common pallidiflorum, but it's still very distinctive. You can see quite a difference in these 2 plants. Like, this one is pretty matte and very smooth and really gorgeous. They're both really gorgeous, but this one is a little bit more pleated and a little bit shorter, at least right now. I don't know, it seems shorter to me, but the leaves are wider and it's also pretty glossy. So yeah, it's still very gorgeous and I can't wait for it to get big. And of course it has these strappy leaves, which I am a total sucker for. And it's really cool to watch them grow side by side and kind of compare the differences. This one seems to grow a little bit faster and be a little less fussy than its cousin. But I love all my strappy anthuriums, to be honest. They all make it so much more jungly in here and just add like a really nice flair to my collection. This inflow has been on here for a little while and I have been trying very loosely to collect pollen from it. I don't know why, but I don't know, I figured I might need it for something later on down the road, so why not? Each new leaf that emerges on it, and they seem to pop out of nowhere. Like, I'll just look over at it in my office and there's a new leaf on there. But each new leaf makes me like, okay, we're getting closer to that really long, like, you know how strappy anthuriums hang out over the pot? I'm like, okay, we're getting closer and closer to that. They're sizing up really nicely and they're looking really good. I love this Anthurium. I didn't at first because this was what it looked like. And I was like, okay, it's not really doing much for me. But as it matures, I'm like, okay, I definitely see the potential in this now. And I'm definitely excited for it now. What I'm not excited for though, is having to repot this, but I better get on it soon because when this happens, like when it starts poking out of the pot like that, I then, when repotting, have to rip the roots off because it gets a little out of control when it comes to like pulling it out this pot. So don't wait for this to happen. Like they should by no means, oops, I'm dropping stuff. By no means should they be going around in circles like that. That means this bin needed to be repotted, but here we are. So yeah, this is on my to-do list. Want to get it in a bigger pot, want to maybe have it hanging because right now it's at the bottom of a shelf. I need to calm down. Like, I'm very excited and I had a lot of coffee today, but there's so much to do and so little time, and I'm just really excited to show you guys everything. So please, you know, don't mind the rants that I'm having, that I'm going on right now. And what was I saying? Oh, okay, yeah. So I really love how it's imprinted all the way down the leaf and it like kind of points at the end. And I can only imagine, like on the more mature leaves, how much deeper those imprints get. And it kind of gets like those abs, kind of like the VGI, not like the VGI, but you know, it's trying to be like the VGI. And I mean, literally, I can only imagine because I can't find pictures of this mature online anywhere. I don't know if it's like a new species discovered, some new cultivar or what, but I guess like everyone who has this that I see online, we're all kind of in the same boat and they're all kind of the same size. So it's definitely going to be an interesting next couple of months, but we'll see how this turns out. Whoever's discovering all these new plants, keep doing it because I love showing y'all plants that like I haven't seen before or that you may have never seen before. So it just, you know, keeps things exciting and expensive. Another plant with these gorgeous pleated leaves is my Philodendron genevivianum. And also the petioles have like this really cool fuzzy texture. Look at that, y'all. It is so cool. And then there's this vibrant vein down the middle that seems to illuminate. This philodendron arrived here and started thriving like immediately. A few leaves got damaged during shipping, but like, see that? Oh. But once it kind of took to my house, it just took right on off. Like, this leaf is perfect. It's so simple, yet so extraordinary all at once. And I've been a little bit picky when it comes to getting plants here lately. Admittedly, I've been a little bit of a plant snob, but this is a work of art and I had to have it. And the way that it is so easy to care for just makes me love it that much more. I'm really excited to have it. I've already got it up on some support. I've got a new leaf coming in right there. So everything is looking great so far. I will very likely have to find a new spot in my house for this because I can already tell it's going to be pretty big and I'm going to need a bigger pot for it. So we've got a lot of things to do. I'm happy to have it here. I don't care. I don't care how much work it takes. I'm just thrilled that it's in my collection now. Oh, and I wanted to ask real quick, I got this out of Grandma's collection. Is that oh, that's just my hair. I was about to get scared. So I got this out of Grandma's collection and it looks like a tortum, but my tortum is like way thinner than this. So what is this? I'm so grateful for you guys. I'm so glad I have someone to ask questions to. But yeah, what is this? Is it a tortum wide form? I don't know. So if you know, leave a comment down below, please. So you guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. Let me know down below what you think about the plants. Do you have any of them? How are they doing? And how excited are you that it's starting to warm up? How much do you wanna bet I'm gonna be complaining in like 4 months about how hot it is? But we'll worry about that when we get to it. Thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you in the next video. Bye.